Hey everyone. Yeah, I thought I'd come on here to give you my thoughts, my reaction. I did do a live reaction. I wish I would have done that, but I do apologize. I'll leave that to DELETION. Check his out. You'll like it. Um, but I thought I'd come on here to give you my thoughts on Ultimate Deletion, which was basically WWE's first official, I guess you could say, forte into the broken universe, the broken woken universe. And to say that, well, it's similar but different than what you've seen in TNA, Impact Wrestling, would be, well, would be a good choice of words. There was definitely a lot of similarity to it. I mean, obviously, you could tell the production was very similar all the way around. But you could definitely tell that WWE had some say in it. I mean, basically, to me, it was like it was equal. To me, you could tell that the biggest difference was you could tell that when they did it in Impact Wrestling, JB and Matt and Jeff, they had a lot more creative say in what they did. And here, you can kind of tell that it was kind of 50-50. It was like Matt, well, maybe more along the lines of, I would say, 60-40 maybe. In other words, Matt had maybe 60%, Matt and Jeff had 60% of final say in it, and WWE had like 40% of say in it. And that 40% was mostly you got to keep it kind of family oriented. Like you can go as crazy as basically I think what it was, the 50-50 or the 60-40, though I look at it as 60-40, was you can get as crazy as you can be, but kind of maintain, but keep in mind that this is not Impact Wrestling. That's what it was. In other words, I think the agreement was, Matt, you could do what you have to do to get the. Again, what I'm trying to say here, and I do apologize if I'm rambling. I'm a little tired. But from what I could tell, basically, it's. From what I could tell, honestly, it's. How do I put this? How do I put this straight? It's like, the Hardys and JB, they had a majority of control. Like from production, certain parts in production, if not a majority of it. But you could also tell with WWE kind of dipped their hand in there, like, okay, you could do this, but can you do it this way so it doesn't feel so like out of place? It's like basically you would look at, if you compared the two, if you compared what you saw in Impact Wrestling to here, this is more PG-13, and Impact Wrestling was more along the lines of R. I know that's a strange comparison because what you saw there was kind of PG-13 as well, but you could tell that they had a lot more freedom. That the Hardys had, like, let's say 75% control in that matter. They had a majority of 75 to 80% control there, because you can't tell me Impact Wrestling didn't have a say here and there as well. But they had basically about 80 to 75 to 80% control there. Compared to here, it felt more like the Hardys had 60% control, and WWE had like 40%, or if you want to be realistic, as some people might point out, it was kind of 50-50. In other words, the Hardys had some say and the WWE had some say. That's the way I look at it. It's like, to me, if it's 60-40, the 60-40 was the production and how things could go and all that, what could be used and stuff. But but on the other hand, the 40% or the other 50%, if you look at it that on WWE's part, was, yeah, Hardys, you could do all that, that's fine, go ahead, this is your thing, but here's what we want you to do to kind of make it more family friendly. And I think that's what they were aiming for, was trying to make it more family friendly. That's why during the event, or during the segment or the match or whatever you have, well, basically during the Ultimate Deletion, you had that whole kind of comedic hide and seek deal around the little Hardy symbol, around the little Hardy symbols graveyard, if you will, like the little the kind of comedic thing, like, you had Bray going this way, you had to go the other way, it's like real quickly. It's like what's going on here, kind of deal. It's like, yeah, this is definitely something you wouldn't see them do, and if the Hardys, if Matt and JB and Jeff had a majority of control, more so, well, basically had the same kind of control, overall control that they had in Impact Wrestling, you probably wouldn't see something like that with this. But because this is now part of WWE in a sense, and it's kind of like a 60-40 deal where the Hardys have 60% say in final say and stuff and what happens, and the WWE has like 40%. In other words, they can have a say here and there when they choose to. That's why you had that whole thing in the graveyard that was very comedic wise. Overall, it was okay for, like I said, WWE's first forte into this kind of environment. I mean, they've tried this before with House of Horrors and then the Wire Compound with the New Day. And, those were okay, but you could definitely tell if you compare productions, in a sense, you could definitely tell that from a production standpoint, this was a lot more polished. This was a lot more acceptable. Like, you could actually believe this was happening right then and there, because one of the complaints people had about the House of Horrors was the House of Horror part took place in a different time of the day, mostly like it was daytime or something, I don't know, and then they get back to the arena and now it's nighttime still, so it's like it didn't make any sense. It didn't really make any sense. So to me, this was a lot more polished because it was done at night, and it was done in a way that could be made believable. Overall, like I said, I thought it was a good first attempt on WWE's part, go in the first journey into the broken universe kind of situation or environment. Again, the production is very similar in a sense, kind of a hybrid, but very similar to what you saw in Impact Wrestling. Some people have said that it kind of felt like you took a big budget movie, handed off the license of that big budget movie and franchise to a lower production company, and this is what you get out of it. And again, I think what some people seem to forget, is WWE is TV PG, and I think that was probably the biggest reminder that had to be going over the whole agreement of letting this happen. Was, like I said, whether it was 50-50 down the middle, or the Hardys had 60% control and WWE had 40%, whatever the terms of the agreement was, it was basically more along the lines of you have to keep it family friendly, family oriented, basically around a PG-13 environment, to where you could have something that is familiar to the fans that used to see it and follow it and watch it in Impact Wrestling, but have something that's also geared towards even the established WWE fans that are more family oriented. So, like I said, that's why you had certain moments in there. That's why you had Matt going like, "Wheel of chairs, more of lawns, wheel of chairs, more of lawns. And you had some music playing in the background as well. So, you can kind of tell it was basically a mutual agreement of how this went down. It may have not been like people would hope it would be, but again, I think for first time outing into the broken woken universe for WWE, and part of this whole situation, agreement with Matt Hardy and bringing this into the company, I think it was all right. I mean, it may have not been everybody's cup of tea. I mean, even DELETION felt that, it wasn't as good as what was put in Impact Wrestling, but it still was entertaining. It was still pretty good. I mean, I got a chuckle out of it a couple times, especially the match reactions at times. But again, you could tell that they were making it. You could tell that this was a hybrid of what people were accustomed to following the broken universe from Impact Wrestling to here, to what WWE would want as a more family-friendly production. Overall, I thought it was great. Overall, I thought it was a great first attempt. I know I'm saying that a lot, so I do apologize. But I thought it was a good first attempt, and you know what? There's an old saying there's an old saying out there that says you could be good that in your first out. If you're good in your first outing, you could be you can turn out to be better in your second outing, or something like that. It's like if you do good the first time, then the second time can be made even better. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen here. This was just the first time they forayed into this. So I think what's going to happen is the next time they go into this area and go in this direction, they're going to be able to be a little bit more elusive, a little bit more. I look at it this way. I think they're going to have a little bit more leeway to do what they want to do. Again, it will still be like a 60-40, 50-50 agreement, maybe 60-40, maybe 70-30 the next time they go in this direction. They foray into this kind of environment. But I think the next time they do, they'll have a little bit more leeway. And I think the next time they do it, they're going to do it on pay-per-view. Because on pay-per-view, they will have a little bit more leeway. They will basically have a little bit more freedom to get a little bit more wacky and crazy than what they did here on USA. It was nice to see certain things, that was familiar for the fans, that were familiar to that fans that had followed it from Impact Wrestling, and that had followed it from Impact Wrestling and that were familiar with it. It was nice to see the little pyro, next to the ring to kind of indicate that is going to be a part of this. Probably the next time they go in this direction. So, yeah, overall, not too bad for a first outing for WWE. I mean, right now, it's, as far as I know, it's still trending worldwide, #1. And Matt's very thankful for that. So, maybe that's a sign. Maybe WWE needs to start doing this kind of stuff, not just with the woken broken universe and the woken broken Hardys, but probably with our other superstars. I mean, think about it this way. Imagine the whole situation with Alexa and Nia, how good that could be if they kind of incorporate something like this, kind of like this kind of production or something like that into those stories. So, imagine how good and more intriguing that could be. But overall, I thought it was good. I thought it was a good first attempt. I thought it was a great first attempt. And it could be even better the next time they go in this direction. If there is one thing I will take away from it, one criticism is, with all due respect to Michael Cole, why do you have to ruin everybody's fun? Seriously. I mean, Michael, we get you're trying to be a serious play-by-play commentator and broadcast journalist, but come on. Learn to let go, man. Learn to let go. Corey, give you all the credit, man. At least you were... Corey Graves, I give you all the credit, man. At least you were willing to help sell the fact that this was something different. That this was going to be one of those once in a lifetime or once in once in a while moments that you may never see again, maybe for the next several months or something. So I thank you, Corey, for that. And Coachman, thank you for playing the middleman and not really trying to get too involved in it. But yeah, Michael, learn to let loose. It's entertainment. It's don't apologize for what people are going to see or call it obnoxious. Remember, this is the first time you're ever going to probably be part of this. Anyway, sorry about that little pause there. But anyway, besides that criticism, I think the other criticism people are going to take away from this is what happened with Bray Wyatt. Everybody, like the Lex Man, was hoping maybe he'd pop out as Husky Harris, but they didn't get that. Instead, they get an answer from Senor Benjamin saying that Bray's body can't be found in the Lake of Reincarnation. And I think that's the only other criticism and complaint fans will have. Is like, well, is that it? That's how you're going to write off the character from WWE and repackage him? I don't think they're going to do that. I think what's going to happen is the way they portrayed Bray since he's come into WWE, in NXT, in FCW, NXT, and on the main roster, and lately as well, trying to build him back up as this monster. I think initially what's going to happen is, the Lake of Reincarnation is going to backfire here. What I see happening basically is Bray Wyatt's going to come back out, but he's going to be more. He's going to be basically. It's going to be like a soft reboot, a soft reset, and he's going to be a more twisted, more sadistic Bray Wyatt than before. And I think the reason for that is and the reason for that is you're going to probably see basically a Bray Wyatt that is more controlled, that the Sister Abigail spirit has more control over than before. In other words, you're probably going to get something that was similar to what we were going to probably get back in October when the Sister Abigail deal came around, and that was kind of hinted at by Finn Balor when they had that situation. So I think honestly what we're going to get here is something similar to that. I mean, it'll still be Bray, but he'll be more like, I think what they're going to do is give him more like a whitish, kind of paint him up a little bit, make him look a little bit more whitish, more deadish maybe. And he's going to be, it'll be like a soft reset to where it'll be Bray, but it's going to be Sister Abigail more in control. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see the return of Bray in this form at WrestleMania during the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Like maybe there's a moment and all of a sudden lights go out if they do it at night, or the lights go out in the building, the lights come back on, and there's Bray covered in the white stuff and all that, standing across from Matt. Matt's in shock, and if Matt tries to attack him, it's going to have no effect, and that's going to lead into the next chapter of this, which basically means, oh crap, now Matt's got to take out Sister Abigail. Not Bray. It's basically, it's going to lead to the fact that Matt's going to have to come up with a better solution to defeat Bray now, because it's not just Bray he's dealing with, it's Sister Abigail. But that's what I feel they're going to go with when it comes to Bray. They're going to reset his character to be more like that, to where he's going to come out characterized story-wise with Sister Abigail more in control than before, and he's going to have sort of like a whitish tone to him to make it look like he's coming back from the dead. So, and he's going to be like an unbeatable monster now. That's what I feel they may do. So, but overall, besides that, I thought it was a great first venture for WWE into the Broken universe, and hopefully the next time will be even better. But let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you want about that. And that's just my reactions and thoughts on Ultimate Deletion. Peace out.